For a fact also that one of his first phone calls, it wasn't just 2 phone calls he made 3, because he also called Elizabeth McCoy, his wife, who screamed at the office.
I don't know. Are we, like I said, I'm trying to assume that there are still Israeli donors who are facilitating this, like, sit down with Barry Weiss, and that's the reason why there still seems for me to be this, like, protection of Israel. That's just how I feel. I feel like the company is interested in protecting Israel's interests. And I do think that there's some Israel angle to the story. And nobody made me think that other than Bibi Netanyahu right after Charlie was killed. Do you think Erika is okay? Yeah, I do think she's okay. Are you and her friends? Like, we were never, like, close friends, obviously, because what happens when you get married is you, like, focus on your family and your kids. And I started having kids right away with George while him and her were dating. We've always been cordial. We have always gotten along, and we were always very supportive of one another when her and Charlie were dating, then when her and Charlie got married. And I do think she's okay. I think, you know, something that she did say, which I mentioned on the show today, was that her and, like, basically that, like, the way that she copes is by working. Like a workaholic, you know, like throwing herself into work is like a form of grieving for her, which I think a lot of people had questions about that. I didn't ask her a question about that. She kind of offered, actually, how did that come up? She didn't offer it. There was something that I said, and then she was like, well, I can explain. I can't remember. I genuinely can't remember. I don't want to butcher it and put words in her mouth. This person says, let me scroll down here. Who does she think killed Charlie? I think she expressed herself, hence the reason why I pointedly asked the question. She expressed, at least what I got from the Glenn Beck interview, was that she believes that it was Tyler Robinson, and I don't see how she gets there. On the basis of the conversation I have with the lawyer, I feel even less compelled that it was Tyler Robinson. I was holding on to, like, the off chance that they had some smoking gun, literally like a smoking gun that we didn't have access to, and we were just like the dumb and ignorant public. That's not true. So I just don't get that. I do not get that at all. Or was I asked to sign an NDA? Clearly not. That's why I'm talking to you guys right now. What about her ties to Romania and the missing kids that she sent to Epstein Island? I never heard about kids being sent to Epstein Island. The entire thing about Romania, I have never even covered on my show. So I was not the person equipped to ask any of those questions. I kept telling you guys, like, I was fully locked in on what happened on September 10th. I obviously saw all the TikToks about her mom, about the CIA thing. Actually, her mother did come up. That was interesting. That is actually a very interesting point. I will tell you right now, the most, like, raw emotion that I have ever seen from Erika was when she was talking about her mom. She could barely get through, because I knew, like, from Charlie when they got together, like, her mom was sick, and, like, because he had sent her overseas, I think it was Iceland or somewhere, actually Austria, to try some treatment. And so I knew that her mother had been sick. When she even started talking about her mom, it was the one time that she broke and looked like she was about to cry and, like, turned really red, like, you know, like, she was trying to keep it together. And I can tell you, like, that she loves her mom. That I've never seen. Like, I would stand that to the end, that Erika Kirk very much loves her mom, and she's very close with her mother. Most raw emotion I have seen from her, like authentic raw emotion, was when we brought up the topic of her mom, and that was in relation to, I asked her straight up how she knew Tyler Boyer. That's another thing that's just coming to my mind right now, because I'm just riffing at you, but you can't remember everything. I mean, guys, it just happened. It was a 4.5 hour meeting. I took notes. You just got to give me time to, like, process them. That's when her mother came up, and she was like, yeah, she loves her mom. Her mother being sick is something that genuinely impacts her. Why did the conversation have to be private? What do you want me to tell you? That's what I was offered. What do you want me to do? Like, that's what I was offered. I was offered public. I said yes. I was offered private. I said yes. I'm going to take whatever I can get. And I hope that we can then have a conversation in the public, that it can be AMA style, and the public can ask all of their questions. I don't, if I was in their position, I would do it. I told them their PR has been a disaster. I think their PR, I said, this is a new PR world, and I feel like you guys have been treating the public like they're stupid, and they're not. They're not stupid. They have this, they know this entire situation is suspicious. And I feel like you should just be kind of like dealing more honestly with the public.
Okay. And so we're not being told the truth. That's what I'm getting at. We are not being told the sensible.
This person says, why hasn't Erika protected you regarding the FBI? Oh, that didn't even come up. Honestly, I didn't even think to ask her about like, oh, could you reach out to the FBI for me? Because that's not how it's supposed to work. I pay taxes. The FBI should answer because I reached out to the FBI. And I think it's obvious. It's because I think they're involved. And I think Kash Patel is petty. And that's the reason why they're doing absolutely nothing about me saying that I have information pertaining to foreigners being on the ground that day. They're just not interested at all. Somebody said, did they threaten you? I was absolutely not threatened. Am I safe? Who knows? I mean, I'm fighting like 6 countries, one of them being the demonic entity that is Israel. Probably not, but it is what it is. This person said, do you think Charlie would still want you to apply pressure? Yeah, I do. I do think Charlie would still want me to apply pressure. And figure out what's happening. And that's why I'm doing it. Did you clarify anything surrounding whether or not an autopsy occurred? I already told you guys for a fact an autopsy did happen, so I didn't have that on my list of questions because I had already confirmed that. Was yesterday your first time speaking with Erika since 9/10? Yes, it was. Will TPUSA own up to the lies as much as you did? Will they defend you publicly? That's actually a good question. It was a private conversation. It would actually be great for them to then have it on the show and to own that they lied. That would be good to exercise some humility because I feel like I've been public enemy number 1 and all I ever did was tell everybody the truth from day one. Does Erika think Tyler killed Charlie? Yes, I think she's already said that on multiple interviews. Was there discussion around UVU remodeling the crime scene? No, I forgot to ask that question, so that was my bad. Did they address the issues? Also, because I don't know that I should have thought about that, but I feel like that's more like a Fed question, and I was trying to focus on like Turning Point USA questions. Did they address the issues with the finances and taxes? They brought an entire tax document thing for me to look through. I'm not an accountant, which is why I haven't spent much time talking about their finances other than the Doge thing, which I was like, that was a weird lie. I don't understand like why Tyler would say that that's like something that he had always done. And they owned that that was not something that they had always done. So again, this is the stuff why I feel like we could have benefited from doing a public like live stream because they did own a lot of the stuff. And it, like you said, it has not been owned in a public capacity. This person says, was Erika surprised by anything that she wasn't before? I would say, yeah, she was very surprised on one thing that I kind of surprised them with that I hadn't said publicly. And I explained to them that it was a very big reason why I am convinced that someone at Turning Point knows more about Charlie's death. I think they were very shocked by that when I told them what that thing was, which was like basically that somebody inside of Turning Point told me that. I'm not naming names, but somebody inside of Turning Point told me that Turning Point was involved. And they were kind of jaws on the floor about that and were like, okay. And I was like, look, I haven't put that information out in the public yet because I am aware of what the ripple effect of that will be. And I also, it could very well be, obviously, in terms of conspiracy, do we think 650 employees at Turning Point USA are in on it? No. But I think it helped them see that I was being compelled by what I'm being told. And I have not told the public every single detail of everything that I've been told because I am playing a game of chess. I need to figure out, to separate the wheat from the chaff, so to speak. And I think we've done a pretty good job of doing that. So there is that as well. I'm going to do a few more questions here. Darn, I accidentally scrolled to the top here. You guys asked a few times, who do you think? Did you find it strange that Erika has Charlie's phone during this investigation? I find it strange the FBI didn't take his phone. But then I think about it and I'm like, actually, it's not strange because I think the FBI is in on it. So it's like, yeah, I know they did some weird stuff, starting with in the hospital. I know the feds were there. I've never said that until just now. The feds were at the hospital way too early, in my opinion, and they did some weird stuff. I don't know what to say other than that, right? I could say more, but I'm just kind of trying to wait and process a few more things. This person says, okay, sorry, I'm scrolling just because I realized yes, we asked about the Doge audit. I thought I said something about that on the show today. Why do you trust the call logs? They could have been fabricated. You're absolutely right. They could have been fabricated. But if they fabricated them, to whose benefit? It actually made it seem like everybody lied. So of course they were in fact edited. It wasn't the full call log uninterrupted printed from the website because they wanted to just show me the relevant portions. But that's all we had. I would prefer to sit down with Mikey and for Mikey to show me his call logs in person. I'm open to that. If I ever get an opportunity to go on their show, I would just be like, can you show me the phone so I have the confidence? I can only tell you guys what I was told, This person says, I told you about the Egyptian planes. You'll have so much more on that tomorrow, so I'm going to skip that. Who styles your hair? Mia, who came with me for the vibes, my cousin, A1 since day one. She can't stand me, but she's always with me. Do you believe that Erika Kirk is skeptical of Kash Patel? That's a good question. I feel that, and this is not coming from the private meeting, this is coming from just public messaging, that they have been trusting of Kash Patel. That they have been in communication with him is what I've been told. They've been in communication with him. I find that to be weird because I think Kash Patel is completely and utterly full of shit. So if she is skeptical, it was not communicated to me. And I didn't ask that question specifically. Is Erika interested in the story of the witness that called you the military meeting that he saw in the military base? I think that's an interesting question. I don't feel that I got they were not, I guess what's the word? They're agnostic. There wasn't a oh, whoa, that's really weird. And there wasn't a well, actually, I shouldn't say there wasn't a chance to shut it down. What they did was they brought Brian Harpole's his travel logs from Tokyo. Because remember initially when I did the episode, I was like, oh, they couldn't have made it back in time for this meeting. I was actually wrong about that because I was forgetting how much time you gain back when you fly back from Tokyo. I think we figured out through the series, I'm not the best at time zones. Anyway, so they had his travel stuff. And when I have his travel stuff, which is why I was like, we'll get back into the Camp Huachuca thing later. And by no means is it shut down. This is a very strong lead. And I do sense that there was major panic about this meeting. The attacks leveled up. And that's saying a lot because they've been attacking me nonstop. So when they gave me Brian Harpole's thing, I looked at it, I was like, oh, this doesn't debunk anything. He could have definitively made it because I explained to them that Brian Harpole, that person who is certain that he saw Brian Harpole, he says, and we're going to have him on the show hopefully tomorrow, he says that he saw Brian Harpole, and that was around 7:47 a.m. So he's unaccounted for during those times. What I can tell you is, and I'll show you this tomorrow, Brian Harpole got back from Tokyo into Dallas early in the morning on September 8th. So that's a full day. He could have been at Camp Huachuca on the 8th. But Brian Harpole, by the way, is calling around, telling people he's going to sue me or something, which is weird because he hasn't even sent a cease and desist. He's talking to Tim Pool apparently and saying weird stuff and got a message out to somebody else and was trying to seed. Basically, I feel like Brian Harpole is scared of us investigating Huachuca, and so he's intentionally signaling to people in the public that he's going to sue me. And when people as a strategy don't just hit you up and say, hey, you got something wrong, here's so you can correct it, but then go the route of legal threats, they have something to hide. It's very simple to just shut something down with the truth and say, hey, I saw this, you got mixed up. He's trying to scare me with lawsuits. So I feel like Camp Huachuca is the undoing of everything, okay? Tomorrow's episode is going to be very interesting. And that's all I can say, for right now, because we had to put the pieces together and trying to figure out who was there at that meeting. But Baron Coleman's episode really helped build upon the fact that someone very important from DC was at that meeting. and he verified, in case you didn't see it, that this was a high-level meeting. I have people on the base who verified that the windows were blacked out. It was turned into intelligence operation. Also, that in general, Camp Huachuca is an intelligence base. He stumbled upon this meeting, and it could literally solve the entire Charlie Kirk case. That's why I said I need to focus my energy on that, because I feel like part of this, creating this like war with Erika and people saying this, that, you know, I was beating employees at Daily Wire, and them even releasing like the firing tape. I didn't even discuss this today. The firing tape of Jeremy Boring on stage, firing me and calling me a semi. It feels like they're trying to distract me because it's the last week of the podcast. And I feel like I have to focus on this. Like I feel like we could solve it. So if we get any detail about the Camp Huachuca base. So I don't know. That's where I'm at right now. I won't answer any questions. Like I said, I'm not convinced by anything. So I'm sorry if you are upset that I took the only opportunity that I was given to sit down and try to get answers, and did my best to kind of deliver to you like the high level, low level. I do think it's good that we have communication with Turning Point USA. I think that's a good thing, because it allows us to, when we find a lie, to instantly have me message Justin and say, hey, you said this or he said that, what's the deal? Like, otherwise we're just going, okay, we don't know why they lied. So I don't know. I feel like that I did the right thing on that, like trying to like facilitate a conversation, and I am 1000% open to still having that conversation public. Maybe now she feels comfortable to do it publicly because she did it privately, you know. Anyways, I guess that's kind of, we'll end it for today, and we will